Good morning. Good morning. Salutations, everyone. I just wanted to come at you real quick. This is going to be a quick reaction video because I am still, I'm actually still working right now, but I wanted to come at this content because I was browsing at the same time. And I was looking at this clip from the, Love and Marriage DC reunion clip when Monique Samuels and her husband at the time, Chris Samuels, was on, and I know a lot of people had an issue with Monique and they don't like Monique because of her delivery, the way she spoke to her husband, and how the marriage. It kind of, you kind of saw like a bird's eye view of how their marriage ended and the demise of their marriage will lead up to that. But I always said this, the sentiments that Monique is expressing, I've been saying this for years about women who have, certain things that they want to say. And a man could say, they could give the exact same content and sometimes could be more harsh or more aggressive and is more received than when a woman could just speak in a mellow tone or speak in a certain way and they're being aggressive, combative. It's all these things. And when a woman is, because it's always, people always emphasize is not what you say, it's how you say it, is your delivery. And I understand all of that, but sometimes it is what you say. Sometimes you got to focus on the words that are coming out of my mouth instead of nitpicking at the tone of my voice. Sometimes because people are not going to say things the way you want them to say it all the time. And we have to receive that as well. I'm not saying that, you're just going to have to just tolerate or just accept someone that's being disrespectful towards you, or you feel like their tone is harsh. I get that you got to be mindful, but be mindful of what the words that are coming out of my mouth, because if you so focus on how I'm expressing myself and how my delivery is, instead of you focusing on what I'm saying to you and expressing myself, that's going to make me more frustrated, because now it don't seem like you're actively listening to what I'm saying to you. So let me just dive into this real quickly here. All right, let me see if I can I'm trying to share it, so just bear with me. Okay, there we go.
For people to be so critical of a black woman who can actually voice what she believes and what she needs from her man. And people will sit there and tear us down. Oh, she shouldn't talk to him like that. The black man is so protected in those spaces. But then the only time that a black woman or black man will acknowledge a black woman is when she's crying, when she's in her weakest moment. But when she's being strong and she's saying, hey, this is what I need, now we're being combative. Now we're being aggressive. Now we're being disrespectful. It's not disrespectful. My delivery could have been better. It is so easy for people to be so critical of a black woman who can actually voice what she believes and what she needs from her man. And people will sit there and tear us down. Oh, she shouldn't talk to him like that. The black man is so protected in those spaces. But then the only time that a black woman or black man will acknowledge a black woman is when she's crying, when she's in her weakest moment. But when she's being strong and she's saying, hey, this is what I need, now we're being combative. Now we're being aggressive. Now we're being disrespectful. It's not disrespectful. My delivery could have been better. It is so.
Okay, sorry. I know I let it play again. And I dropped my mouse and everything while I was working. So I'm sorry I had that little thing going on. But she did acknowledge at the end that her delivery could have been better. And I do agree. Because I've been hearing it for years. My delivery is your delivery, is your delivery. I get it. But even again, the way I'm speaking now, I bet you somebody might comment about my delivery now, because I get it all the time. Even, and sometimes, like, I'm not even trying to be aggressive. I remember one time my mom and I had a conversation, and she was even saying that sometimes it sounds like you want to fight somebody, or you sound like you're mad. And I'm like, mother, I'm not mad. I'm not mad. I'm just talking. I don't know how else to express myself. Unless you just want me to whisper all the time. Do you want me to talk like this? Because if I talk like this, then maybe my point may not become my point not come across, because you can't hear what I'm saying, because I'm not projecting enough. But if I whisper, does that make you feel any better? Does that make me less aggressive, less combative? Because I can't use this all the time. I can't use this all the time because it's not my regular voice. This is my regular speaking voice. And so sometimes even using my regular speaking voice is not going to sit well with anybody. And I can't And I had to reassure her and many other people, I can't speak no other way other than my regular voice. I can't change it. There's no way I can do that. There's no way. But at the same time, I do understand how Monique feels at that moment, because it's frustrating when you're trying to get your point across, or you're holding somebody accountable, or you're expressing an opinion, or you're expressing a viewpoint, and you're just talking. And sometimes my voice does tend to carry sometimes, and it may come across that I'm yelling, because as I have the conversation, my voice tends to pick up, and people get the perception that I'm yelling when I'm not. So I get it. It's about control, your ability to communicate more effectively. I get all of that. But just consider that some people just are, loud. Sometimes they're being loud because some people say I'm loud in nature, and I always have an outside voice, but even when I'm trying to use my inside voice. So it's like you can win. It's a no end. I mean, the only thing I can do personally and Monique can do is just work on the delivery. You continue to work on it, and you kind of have to, based on who you having a conversation with, and just understand where they're coming from and how they're able to receive what you're saying and how you deliver the message. So I do understand being mindful of that. But also you have to understand Monique's position, because I know a lot of people, again, may not like the way she talked to her husband, because a lot of people mentioned that. But at the same time, you have to understand that you're getting a bird's eye view. You're getting a tail end of a 10 or so year marriage, with children involved and memory, and a lot of things that are accumulated throughout those years. And maybe you're seeing the tail end of the frustration and how she had to, maybe there were times where she had to um, walk on eggshells, or she allowed certain things to fester on, or she wasn't as expressive because she kind of suppressed her feelings at that moment, because she was maybe considering her husband's feelings at the time throughout their marriage, and just being the what he needed at the time, especially during the time where he was in his career before retirement. So you just never know. You talking about you being at the tail end of a years long marriage, and what you're seeing is her expressing her frustration and an accumulation of all these factors and all these issues that came into play throughout their marriage. And now that they have the opportunity to put it out there on Front Street in public, and having the counseling, and all of these feelings and all these emotions are just, you know, overwhelming at times. So I get, where she's coming from, and also get where Chris may be coming from at times, or where the public might be coming from. But overall, I do understand how sometimes a woman may be betrayed a certain way, or as being, or trying to be the man in the relationship, or being masculine, because all you're doing is being forthcoming. All you're trying to do is deliver a message, or be, or because if you can't express yourself to your own spouse, then what are we doing? If I gotta keep sitting in the background and not have to suppress my feelings because I don't want to come across as a nag, or I don't want to come across as combative or aggressive, because you're in your feelings about how I said something, then what are we doing? What are we doing? I should be able to come to you and communicate with you as your wife, sister, cousin, daughter, whoever it is, your friend. I should be able to come at you, and if you know me long enough to know that I don't mean any harm by what I say, but I'm passionate in my delivery at times. It doesn't mean I'm angry. It doesn't mean I'm just trying to be rude or disrespectful. I'm just passionate at the moment, and I just want to be heard, and I want my point to be received, without you focusing on much of how I say something. Because if you focus so much on my tone of voice, then that's being dismissive to everything I'm trying to tell you. Okay. But again, I just want just to kind of just do a quick reaction video to that, because this is, something that I've been struggling with for some time now. And I know people understand, my tone sometimes can be harsh, because I am all, New York bred. But I'm just being me. I'm just being my true, authentic self. Now, there are moments where I may come across a certain way. So there are times I do want to be aggressive at that moment or assertive because I feel like, you know, it's within my right to do so at that particular time, or maybe I might come across aggressive, or my delivery may be harsh when it doesn't need to be. And, if you address that with me in a respectful way, we could talk about it and I can apologize if I come across aggressive or offensive at that moment. If I feel like I need to apologize, because I still feel like I shouldn't have to apologize for something that I'm not doing. Now if you feel a certain kind of way about how I express myself or you interpret it a certain way, I have no control over how you interpret something, but I do have the ability to control how I deliver the message. But you can't expect for people to just cater to how you want to be addressed. I mean, people have to express themselves. People are going to have to speak, and like I said, for the record, this is my regular voice. This is my voice. Whether you think it's aggressive or not, or my tone may be harsh, but this is my regular speaking voice and I can't change it. So whether you accept it or not, that is your choice, and I respect whatever you decide. But I just wanted to put that out there and just, hopefully I could get, some comments, some feedback, and let me get back to work. Have a good day. Mhm. Mhm.